In today's video, we are once again taking a deep dive into the upcoming pattern. We do have a tropical storm out there in the Atlantic that we're going to be discussing that is expected to become a hurricane, impacting areas like Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic in the near future here, kind of currently actually over the next 24 hours. And then potentially Bermuda, potentially the Atlantic coast of Canada is kind of what we're expecting. So Newfoundland, Nova Scotia area, and then even New England can't be ruled out. So that is going to be an impactful system. We have other storms around the nation as well as we look to pick up into a pretty active pattern. Colder air for the east looking to be around for the majority of the next 10 to 15 days, and even more over the next few weeks and even into September is expected. So very active Arctic air mass pattern, really just moving deep into the United States from Canada, bringing just this abnormally cold pattern that we're kind of expecting here for the next while at least. So let's just dive into things and take a look at it. By the time we're taking a look at kind of this evening for Wednesday on the 14th today from the time I'm making this video, or better yet, Tuesday on August 13th from the time I'm making this video. What am I thinking here? We do see storms across some of your Rockies, Western Canada here as well. So these areas, and this is pretty substantial, especially here in the Rockies. I mean, that is a rainy looking pattern, and we do have broad low pressure. That's probably the driving force here, but really active pattern, I would say, is looking quite likely there. Over the entire area of the eastern states, there's just some scattered pockets in there of this activity that needs to be watched. Just overall storms, thunderstorms, showers happening in these areas, and definitely could hit some areas this evening. So be on the lookout, especially areas like Kansas, Missouri, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. You know, the Gulf Coast here. Those are the primary regions there to watch. As we reach towards Wednesday afternoon tomorrow on August 14th, we do have this likely hurricane by this point north of Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico there, moving kind of northward, eventually curving a little bit out to sea here, but we do expect it to kind of rebound back towards the west again. We'll look at that track later on, of course. We do see areas over the Rockies and northern plains overall dealing with thunderstorms and showers, so these areas definitely need to be watched for a lot of activity. Areas up and down the Gulf states into the East Coast really need to be watched for some thunderstorms and shower activity in here as well. Definitely something to pay attention to. Let's take a look at Thursday here on August 15th. We see that there is plenty of thunderstorms and showers around for the Cascades, Rockies still, and then the Northern Plains and Upper Midwest. Definitely an area that I'm going to be watching here very closely. Here is kind of the Gulf Coast where we're seeing, again, scattered thunderstorms around, showers as well. Definitely looking very active. We do see this hurricane is now down to a 982 millibar low pressure center north of Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic. Again, kind of slowly moving northward, not quite as slow as Debbie, but it is a slower system again. Definitely interesting to say the least. Let's keep going towards Friday on August 16th. We do see that the Rockies into the kind of like southwest areas of Canada there. So we're seeing the Rockies, southwest Canada as well, seeing very active pattern. We do see that there is thunderstorms and showers happening for the upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley here, and then down through some of those deeper south areas as well. Let's take it one step further, head towards Saturday on August 17th, and we are seeing thunderstorms up and down the eastern regions of the United States. So definitely these Louisiana, Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Kentucky need to be watched. The Ohio Valley and Great Lakes as well as the Northeast. Also seeing some thunderstorms and showers in here as well. Really need to watch all of these areas. As we take a look at Sunday on August 18th, we're seeing thunderstorms, showers present here for a lot of these areas. Definitely something to pay attention to. Really stormy day for Sunday the 18th here. We also see that the Rockies and Cascades still have not slowed down with this thunderstorm activity whatsoever. I think this is also a good point to kind of just pinpoint here our jet stream pattern, because we are seeing a bit of a trough still in the east. We're also looking at pretty strong signal for a ridge out west, and this is very indicative of a positive PNA, so you would have warmer temperatures in here, and this does cause the cold that would be located here over Canada to pour eastward here. That's exactly what we're seeing. So this is looking very, very realistic. Monday is a lot of the same here on the 19th. I mean, strong ridge out west, also a substantial trough in the east. Looking at storms up and down that coastal area of America into Canada as well. Let's keep going. I want to take this even a step further. Tuesday here on August 20th, we are seeing thunderstorms around, especially in the southeast this time around. We're seeing, and I would be watching here on August 20th for some tropical activity. Anything can kind of pick up in this heavier area of storms offshore of Florida, either the west or east coast, or even off the mid-Atlantic coast. This would be a time to watch for that. By August 20th, we are getting pretty close, dangerously close to the peak of hurricane season, so conditions would be ripe for development. And that doesn't mean it has to happen, but it definitely wouldn't be the most shocking thing in the world as we get a cold front pulling off the coast here to see something try to develop in these areas. So around the 20th, be watching for that. Wednesday the 21st here, we're seeing again off the west and east coasts of Florida there. Thunderstorms and showers are around. We also see for Thursday, August 22nd, it looks a lot of the same here. Still looking at a rather ridge-like pattern in the west and trough here in the east. So that colder air pouring towards the east here, and then a ridge for most of the west. Definitely very interesting. And then Friday on August 23rd, we are seeing a pretty interesting trough and east pattern still having its grip here on the overall United States pattern here. Very, very interesting stuff. Now let's take a look at the GFS model for the entire tropical Atlantic. We are going to see this storm kind of try to pull something like this, and then near that coast of Canada here. Very interesting. I mean, throughout this entire model run, be also watching this area here where we see these storms moving off of Africa and towards either the Gulf, into the Caribbean here, or even out to sea. But we're really going to want to watch this area in particular, as these storms usually originate off of Africa and move across the Atlantic just like that. So be watching that as we also watch this tropical storm moving northward, again striking near Bermuda as a 972 millibar low pressure center. That's likely somewhere between a category 1 and 2 hurricane there, as that impacts Bermuda pretty closely on this run. Very unfortunate stuff. And then we're seeing a direct hit there, unfortunately, to Nova Scotia, but not only that, Newfoundland as well. Still a 975 there, over pretty far north there up the east coast of Canada. That is a very strong system, likely strong winds, heavy rainfall. We will be definitely keeping you guys up to date there in coastal Canada for this potential tropical situation. Now, we don't see anything else develop, which usually they don't really show it in the super long range, but we do see this constant flow. So I'm sure by the 29th here, which is this, we will have more than just our current tropical storm to track. So likely going to see this evolving over the coming days. We will continue to track it with you guys. So rest assured, this is going to continue to be something that we talk about. However, for now, there isn't much more to discuss. We will look at the National Hurricane Center at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. I want to take us straight into the precipitation anomalies here, and what we see is overall a wetter pattern across the north. We discussed this yesterday. Drier across the south here, and this is going to be very indicative of an overall La Nina pattern. You have the storms moving across the north, rather dry across the south. Very La Nina-like, not too surprising whatsoever. So expect to see more of that at times during this upcoming fall and winter as well. Here is the near-term temperature pattern, and we do see below normal temperatures, bringing a very pleasant temperature pattern here for a lot of the central and eastern states, depending on how far north you are, of course. And this really wants to stick around. We do see a bit of a warm-up here for Friday in just a few days here, Saturday as well, Sunday. But look at this, another cool down has gone ahead and moved in. This is Sunday night into Monday. We saw another Arctic blast kind of move in from Canada and really impact this area, bringing those temperatures back down into a much more September-like state for a lot of folks. That's going to be pleasant, and it really, really sticks around. This is all the way by Friday the 23rd. Still rather cool. And we really don't warm up here until like the 25th and beyond. So we're looking at 10 plus days from now before these models are really indicating any sort of warm up in the east. And still, I mean, even by the end of this model run, where looks the warmest right now? It's still out west, which again, is indicative of a positive PNA and probably would lead to much cooler temperatures than what this is showing because of that. So still some big question marks there. Definitely we need to track this further as it is a long-range call at this point. Here is, speaking of long-range, the CFS daily model, which will take us into a bit of September. We're looking at it in 5-day increments. So here's the 14th through the 19th. Far below normal temperatures out west here. Very, very cool compared to normal. We do have a warm-up here just to the east there, but cooler temperatures for the east as well, as we have just that nice fall-like cool down going on right now. Let's look at the 20th to the 25th, and still rather cool in the east, but again, the 25th through the 30th, we do see more neutral temperatures, so a bit of a warm-up for the entire central and eastern states with cooler out west on this model. Very interesting. Once we move towards the 30th through the 4th, though, look at what we end up seeing. A lot of cooler temperatures here overall for the east. A little bit here for the west coast, but there is this warmest pocket along the Rockies and the plains. So we cool back down for the east here. Here is the 5th through the 10th of September, and look at how cool we get compared to normal. In those darker blues and greens, we're about 10 to 15 degrees below normal. So you're looking at October-like temperatures in September here. So likely upper 60s, lower 70s for some folks in here, which would be very fall-like for most areas. Definitely exciting times, you know. Just a couple of weeks from now, if we're seeing temperatures like this, we are going to be moving away from the summer-like pattern entirely. Let's see the 10th through the 15th. Not quite as cool, but still rather cool. Here's the 15th through the 20th. Same story there. And then the 20th through the 25th, not really slowing down. So we see a cooler pattern in the east for almost the entirety of the next 45 days on this 45-day model. Very, very interesting. And out of curiosity, here is that total, or better yet, here's the 45-day temperature anomalies. And again, cooler over the east overall, cooler over the west coast as well, but warmer there in between, which is not the most common pattern, but is rather realistic. And we do see this actually quite often. Not common, again, it is a little bit rare, but we do see it from time to time, I guess is a better way to put it. Let's go ahead, take a look here at Tropical Storm Ernesto. I think that's right. Correct me if I'm wrong. These names, they're never, you know, I guess a lot of them are retired now, but I feel like we get into these names that I've just never heard of before. So Ernesto, Tropical Storm Ernesto, currently at 60 miles per hour. So we are about 4 miles per hour away from being a hurricane, or better yet, sorry, I definitely didn't math that right. 14 miles per hour away from being a hurricane. And it is expected by tonight, so we are kind of rapidly intensifying here. We're going to see it remain at hurricane status from that point on is the current expectation, and we do see that it takes this kind of S-curve, so heading towards the west, eventually curving back towards the east to Bermuda. But look at this, it looks like it wants to turn a little bit more towards the west, kind of a straight north trajectory, which would put New England and eastern Canada on high alert, like we've been kind of preaching for the last multiple days for this tropical storm and eventual hurricane. Definitely a major situation that needs to be watched, and we are going to continue to track it with you guys as it unfolds. So be sure to subscribe. We do upload every single day. You can even hit the bell icon for daily notifications when we upload so you never miss one. Be sure to like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video.